everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Oh, you were doing like the happy dance there.
I was doing a little happy dance.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, and welcome back. Welcome to Live from Rabs from inside Rabs Country Lane. It is
A little noisy today.
a little noisy. That's all right.
We can make more quiet.
No, that's
Oh,
fine.
no, we don't need. You gave us enough noise last week, where our guests were actually kept asking, "What is that noise?" We were trying to talk food, and they were cutting wood. Now they're just fouling.
They're working on something.
We're still on lane 14,
Almost done.
13 and 14. Still fixing the gutter. You're almost done.
Anyway.
Well, how are you today?
I'm good
Are
today.
you off your high after yesterday's show?
Yesterday was quite a show. It was quite a show. I was very excited about yesterday's show. It was like a whole build-up for me, like a week of anticipation. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Like a week of anticipation.
And it came.
And I thought he was great. I thought he answered. He was really easy to talk to. He told some great stories. He was great.
So Kevin, Jimmy is here early on a Tuesday. This is the first in quite some time that Jimmy's here. Normally it's extra quiet on Tuesday afternoons. Jimmy has just swapped his days this week, which is cool. So tomorrow, right? Are you not coming in tomorrow?
No, you're good tomorrow.
Wait, did you get the chipmunk last night?
Yeah.
Jimmy got a call yesterday from his wife that the cat brought in a chipmunk, and she was and Rita was a little upset and trying to.
Was a little upset. I had to stop working. Couldn't vacuum the house. Couldn't do nothing.
Because a chipmunk got in the house.
Was the chipmunk alive?
Oh yeah. I had gloves on and a mask.
Chip, and you have no video of this?
Yeah, she was afraid to come in there. I had 3 cats following me around with that chipmunk.
Kind of like a scene from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with the
Yeah, I
squirrel.
was chasing it around the dining room floor.
No Christmas tree though.
No Christmas tree.
That's funny. And our friend Mike tells us he agrees that Nelson was a great guest yesterday. So for those that don't know, go back and watch yesterday's show. We had former Met and SNY analyst Nelson Figgy with us, which was pretty cool, especially for us Met fans. We had Joe Cal come in as a baseball sports fan, and great conversation. It was our longest show yet.
I don't doubt it. He likes to.
We almost went 2 hours.
He's very
yesterday with
eloquent.
Nelson. We didn't anticipate to go that long, and we promise we won't go 2 hours today.
As a teacher once wrote in my yearbook that he was very loquacious.
Ooh,
yes,
and that's like a 75. That's a 75-cent word.
Well, there it is. Well, you can have an extra quarter and make it $1.
Loquacious. That's a good one.
Loquacious, yes. And he even spoke about a little bit about bowling.
I have to say, if anybody wasn't impressed, he threw out some names.
He threw out a couple bowlers' names. Very impressive.
Yeah, he likes to bowl.
He likes bowling. He says he enjoyed bowling when he was younger. And we're going to have him here. I'm holding him to it. I talked to him after the show. We're going to set something up and have him come back and bowl. And yeah.
An event.
Yeah.
It's going to be an event. It's always an event.
Keep that on a cute day.
It's always an event. I like it. So Figgy's going to come and bowl with us.
Yeah.
But he does it several times a year with some fundraisers. And so and he does enjoy it, which is cool.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was funny because I guess I had asked him about his last time in bowling. We talked about it. And then all of a sudden later in the show, we were talking about
towards the end.
different things. And he equated it back. We talked about what he was saying related to any sport. And then he threw out like Pete Weber. And I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah. And Brian Voss.
Brian Voss. So it was pretty cool. So
he is an analyst. So maybe he did some research before and he was giving us a little voodoo to make us think that, but I don't think so. He really was really sincere, and we're looking forward to having him back.
Yeah. So go back if you didn't watch it. Go back and watch the replay. It's on our page, also on YouTube.
Yeah.
As we're live from both mediums. We did have a question that I wanted to answer before we go into anything else. Chris was asking about our reopening, and we were anticipating a potential July 1 reopen. It's looking more realistic that it's later July.
Yes.
If all goes well as we start the reopening phases here in New York State, which is different county by county. And so downstate New York hasn't been given the green light for starting phase 1 just at the end of this week. So we're unsure, but it looks like late July if all goes well at this point. So
seems like New York is obviously we're the most populated, so we're gonna have we're gonna be the last to get on board there. I think there's 7 things you have to have in place, and we have maybe 3.
Right. Yeah, the percentages.
Right.
I have to say that they updated the website with that information, so it's a nice map of the state.
Yes, yeah.
And you could click on it by county.
Which area, what they have.
Right.
And, at least you have an idea of what's going on, and they have been getting better at disseminating information. And listen, this is none of us have been down this way before, including our elected officials. So they're kind of hitting their way around there too, and sometimes it's a miss, and sometimes they get it.
Yeah, one day at a time. I mean, that's all we can do. And so,
what are you gonna do?
We are here on Live from Rabs until further notice, and I hope you continue to watch and enjoy. We've got some. I don't know how we top yesterday's guests, and then even today's guest I'm excited to have with us today.
Yeah.
And the rest of the week is it looks great too. So we'll talk a little bit about our other guests. Just when we thought there wasn't someone else we can bring on to Live from Rabs.
It's endless. The possibilities are endless. We are only halfway through scrolling in our contact list.
And I did get a message yesterday from someone. Hey, how come you didn't ask me to be on your show?
Yeah, yet? I got a couple of those too.
A few of them. And I wanted to say, no, thank you. No, I'm kidding. That person was definitely not a no, thank you.
Oh, it wasn't?
I was excited to actually get that one. I was like, so now we've insulted you by not asking.
But now, see, this is what happened. The word's getting out now. The word is getting out.
As we say, a ratings
I sounded there
bonanza.
Like a minute like that one funny mommy from the TikTok.
Oh,
she's very funny.
We could talk all day about the TikTok.
Yeah, we're not even going to the TikTok.
I have to send you. I found some good ones yesterday that I didn't send you. I need to send
you.
You
I don't know how to do that though.
There's the little arrow to share, and then you hit the share, and then the message comes up, and you can hit message.
You could send it to. Do they have to have TikTok, or you can send it in anything?
So on the right hand side, right above the music, where the music thing is, the button above it is the share, and so you can. In some cases, some people allow you to save their content. You could post it to your Snapchat. Some of them protect their content, but you can at least text. I could send it to you via text message.
Oh, okay.
Send it to you through TikTok messaging.
I did get. My daughter shared one, and it came through as a message.
Yeah.
So I was like, "How did that happen?" I didn't know.
And then the cool part, it's not like when you share something from Facebook, you have to then go back into Facebook. Something that's shared from TikTok actually shows in your.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I learned something today. Anne, thank you for asking about my mom. She's coming home today, and all is well. She has no deficits. She's doing good. And I honestly can't wait to have her back home and driving me insane.
We can't wait to have her back in the studio.
Yes, they already said she can't come back in here, but she's got a clean bill of health, and she's clear.
As long as she's not patient 0 and is not carrying corona.
She got the old clear.
Okay. I would like.
She's
I'm
corona
sure
clear.
Should be saying I don't have the Rona.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
In Greta speak. We weren't going to talk about TikTok, but we had to finish the thought there, Dennis. So thanks for keeping us on.
We're not talking about TikTok.
Thank you for keeping us on our toes. And so we are glad to hear that Greta is well.
Yes.
So, Mother's Day will be re-celebrated.
Yes, we're gonna pick another day, and re-celebrate. We'll do a little Zoom with the whole family and have a Mother's Day.
Great Grandma Greta, Triple G is ready to. We'll be
Yeah,
rocking and rolling.
Yeah, she is.
We have a nice day out today, Naz.
It is
How
a
about that
nice
for an
day.
observation?
Tiny, but this is weird because in the daytime, the weather is kind of nice. But then at nighttime, it's like in 40s and upper 30s.
Yeah.
So it takes so long for the day to warm up. It's kind of frustrating, but I know like at the end of this week and next week, where I think they said
60s. By the end of the week, yeah.
80 on Friday. So I think they said we have one more cold night.
We are not going to have snow on Saturday. We already got past this past Saturday with snow. And yesterday, our drive-by parade was perfect timing because the skies opened up like right before we went on the air. Right after that. We were all standing outside chatting, and all of a sudden, we were watching those black clouds come. And then, poof, hail. It was hail.
Yeah, I know. It was bouncing off my car. I saw it. I was on my way here.
Anyway, so today, episode 51. Yesterday was the big 50. We've invited special guest, Jessica B Phillips. She's the executive director and CEO of Historic Richmond Town. So if you know anything about what we've been doing here on Live from Rabs, we've had different guests from all over. I'm ready to bring her in, and I think she's settled too. Hi.
Hi.
So I was just saying we've had guests from all over the spectrum: cultural institutions, professional bowlers,
businesses,
community leaders.
Business.
Yeah, the business leaders, and so and of course our customers. So Jessica, we're excited to have you on with us today. How are you doing?
Sorry, my son just came in working from home. I have put him on the TV for this interview, so hopefully he won't come back in. But he had struggled with turned the iPad off. I don't know. So I missed what you said.
I was asking how you were holding up, which that explains it perfectly.
I'm really, I have my health. And I have a job still, and my husband got laid off, so he's home with me and the kids, which is great because now I can do my job and he can be parenting, which is stressful for him. He does like construction, so this is a very big change for him, but he's really enjoying the time with the kids, and I'm enjoying the time home.
You know what? It's funny, and being a teacher and doing all of those things. I know your son's younger, but I'm certainly that's certainly not an easy point in this stage, especially that you are working.
Yeah, I have a 1.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, so it's definitely you can't do the same lessons, and he's not. Let's be honest, he's not doing lessons. He refers to his day as Jake's Diner and Snack Shack because that's all he does is basically feed them all day. Oh, this is my son now. Yes, sir. How can I help you?
Please, can I please have a snack?
No, you may not. Go back to your room. I love you so much.
Yeah, but
Go.
Can you go into the cabinet and get some graham crackers?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how that turns out.
Yeah, thanks, Ma.
Mom, I'd like some too. Send some this way.
You got it. Graham crackers for everyone at Rabs today.
I love it. Animal crackers and graham crackers, and I'm set for life. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's the best. Maybe some goldfish in there.
Oh yes, I mean Cheez-Its and goldfish. That go without saying.
Ah, I love Cheez-Its. Well, you should come eat at Jake's Snack Shack because Cheez-Its galore.
We have them here, and it's not easy to go through the box when the box is open.
When you're loading the machine.
When you're loading the machine and grabbing snacks. Yeah, especially Michael, who grabs them on a regular basis.
Uh-oh, Michael, they just called you out.
Yeah. Well, he was waving his hands, reminding us that he's the one that does do it. So.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey, so Jessica, you now have been here in Richmond Town for how long now?
20-ish months.
You're not counting, though.
Not at all. I counted at 18 months because someone had asked me, and I was like, oh, let me do the math. But it's about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September.
And that should be that's exciting because you guys really have been doing some great work, and you're certainly keeping busy. So kudos to you. What is the first 20? What will be 24 months have looked like for you? In your new role here?
Well, I inherited a really awesome position, and I have to thank the people who held it before me. They did a great job with Historic Richmond Town, and it's just, it's it's 4 properties actually throughout the island. So it's not just the main campus, which everybody comes to for the Oktoberfest or the, Uncorked and whatever you've been to the main campus for. We have 3 other properties, and it's 112 acres, 40 structures, a staff of 23, and a budget that does not match it. So it's needs. It's a lot, but it's just so much potential. And it was the first year and a half has been me just kind of learning Staten Island. I'm not from Staten Island, so it's been a very warm welcome, and I really have been thankful to my other cultural leaders and people like yourself, Frank, who have really helped me kind of meet people, and it's been awesome to go. I get to host the county fair, and it's really cool to be in the back end of it and get to go on the rides early.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned the county fair, because the county fair means so many things to so many different people. No different than our business, but once a year, Labor Day weekend, here's this big event that the county that this Staten Island gets together to celebrate, and then of course to be on the grounds of historic Richmond town, which are pretty cool. I go back as a child when it was over at the Patrides complex,
right?
And I mean, it was great, and we loved being a part of that.
It was different. A different feel to it, right?
Without it, yeah. So different, and then now to have it in the institution, which now aesthetically looks better. It's easier to navigate. The roads have been paved. That whole project came together really nicely, and so you kind of inherited the back end of the project, which I know there are more things happening right with that project, and it really does look great.
Yeah, I have to say, I believe it was under leadership of maybe Ed Weissman who got that streetscape project underway. And I mean, I can't imagine to host those kinds of events on a landscape that doesn't look the quality it now looks. So I have to thank him and, the city for funding it and DDC for overseeing it. But we have all these new lampposts and blacktop and sidewalks that are accessible to people in wheelchairs, and I know for people with strollers it's a big improvement. And it's just the lamppost, you can actually be there in the evening and not be terrified that a ghost is going to come out of one of the houses. I mean, maybe you'd still be terrified, because I know that I am, but yeah, it's a really beautiful campus to work with. So with over 100 acres on the main campus, and we don't even use most of it, about 20 acres are developed.
Wow. And so that includes Decker, right? Decker Farm up on the hill.
So Decker Farm is about 10 or 11 acres, and that's just not too far away. If you've gone to Trader Joe's, you've probably been there. We do pumpkin picking in the fall and October, and we do school groups for pumpkin picking during the week. And that's a really big, popular event that we do. And all the big events that we do are fundraisers for historic Richmond town.
Yeah, and it's great because it brings people of all kinds to the facility to be exposed. And I even when we were vending at the Richmond County Fair, I actually couldn't believe the people that come from out of state and out of Staten Island to come just for the fair and be a part of something that isn't in their back door, which is pretty cool, and then expose them to the cultural institution that it is. I think is even better than that.
Yeah, a lot of people come from New Jersey and Pennsylvania. We also last year started the Culture Crawl, which is a new section of the fair, which we invited all of Staten Island's culturals to come vend for free. So if you were a performing arts institution or a museum or a collecting institution or historical society or a painter, or even what are they called? Those people who they tag things with their spray paint.
Graffiti artist.
Yes, you win. You got the big word for the day, and you won the question.
There it is. So, Jessica, you're the first female to head up this organization, and I would venture a guess you're probably the youngest.
I don't know how old my predecessors have been, but I definitely am the first woman, and it's a 156. It's 1856 is when the organization was founded. So that's a long time to not have a woman.
Yeah. And I mean, it really seems like you're bringing new ideas and new implementations to the to the grounds of things that they haven't really done before, or maybe things that they kind of touched on, but you went into it further?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to kind of clean up the property so that it looks, so we're good neighbors and we look good from the outside. And as you are business people yourself, you know that if your storefront looks shabby, like no one's going to want to come in. So really trying to make sure that we, clean in the grounds, and we're going to be doing some painting on the buildings and doing some really necessary repairs. I come from a historic buildings and museum material culture background. So it's just like, I can't help but see an old building that needs some love and give it that love. And luckily we were able to do that. Preservation is one of our missions. So we have these 40 structures, and it's really important that we are good stewards to the community, because we are, a lot of places will have collections of objects and stuff. Lots of museums have, plates and paintings, but it's very few places that are like, sure, I'd love to take buildings, because that's a money pit, so it's someone was like, you know what? I have this great building. Do you want it? And I was like, I need another building. Like, I need a hole in my head. Like, no, 40 is enough. If you've owned a house, like, you know how much money it takes to keep that house. Now 40 of those. So we're just trying to really focus on what we have and making sure that we're able to open as much up to the public, because we're here in the public trust to share the community's history.
Yeah. And it's not just so, even though it's just buildings, a lot of old buildings, you also house a carriage collection, right? Across in the cemetery, I believe in those new structures, that's what's in there currently, or no? Not
yet. So we have about 30 carriages and some motor vehicles. So it's a very large carriage collection. I mean, carriages take up a lot of space. So imagine 30 cars, and I believe under Ed Weissman as well, he got a capital project for these structures that were supposed to be kind of like a World War II Quonset hut. So it's a very cheap build. So they're not cheap, they're quality, but they are cost effective to build to get a large amount of square footage. And that is exactly what you need to house the carriages that had been previously housed in a building that was falling apart. And it was not our building. So there was a little issues with the buildings structurally. But we have worked with the city and received some more funds to make sure that we get them shipshape so that we can put the carriages into them as intended. And they will be on limited exhibition for special tours and everything. And we're talking about right now restoring one of our the crown jewels of the carriage collection. It's the Vanderbilt buggy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's Cornelius Vanderbilt on Staten Island. This was his Staten Island buggy, and it was custom made. It's absolutely gorgeous. I want to ride to work in it if I only had some horses. And so that's the plan.
You should get Anderson Cooper to come in and ride it as that. A little ode to his family.
That's right, with his new baby.
Yeah. That's really cool. People take for granted. Everybody has, and I'm sure you know this. People come to you and they have the best collection ever, and they want to give it to you. What's the craziest thing so far somebody has asked you to curate and which they wanted to donate?
I mean, I've only been at his Richmond for a short period of time, but I think in my time as overseeing collections, oh gosh. Okay, so one time at Historic Richmond Town, a gentleman came to me in my parents' home, and I think it's a raised ranch, and his parents have deceased, and he still lives there, and he has not touched a single thing. Like, the vacuum is still his mother's vacuum and they must have been the most ginger, graceful people on the planet, because they didn't hurt a single thing. Like, the vacuum is still like the pristine Hoover, and the plastic on the couch, and the shag rug. And I mean, you really walk in and you think you're on the set of Mad Men. And this person was like, I'd love to give you this house with the entire contents in it. The only caveat is that I come too.
What? Wait, so he wanted to move in?
Yeah, he wanted to stay in his house, but like move it to Richmond Town. And I was like, sure. I mean, who wouldn't want to live on 100 acres of parkland? I would. No, thank you.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
Well, and so that goes to one of our viewers' questions. How often do you get approached about moving an older building?
Not often. A couple times a year, I'd say.
Yeah, because and again, everybody has the oldest building on the block. Everybody has the oldest, whatever it might be that they want to hold on to. That's funny. So you said no. So now, what about the house? Is it a house that could potentially be something that you would consider at some point?
Without him?
Without him, of course, and his ghost, of course.
Well, that's the thing. Does the ghost come with it? Yeah, I mean, we consider everything because we're collecting up until the present day. We don't have any. Our houses pretty much end around 1914, I believe. So we don't really have any 20th century homes or buildings. We do continue to collect objects. So we just accessioned a wedding dress from the 80s from a Staten Islander whose mother made the dress on Staten Island. So we are collecting currently, the community's artifacts. The rule of thumb is that you don't want more than 3 of one thing. So I found that we have 600 hand planes.
What?
Yeah. So a hand plane is like one of those woodworking tools and it shaves off, the wood. 600.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. So we're working through curating our collection in order to make room for new things.
Yeah, and I would think that at some point you want to tell the story. At some point, and it might not be you, but your group strategically has to make a decision to say, "Hey, we have to start curating things from the 20th century." And when do we do that? Because moving forward, this is going to be here for a long. We hope that this is here for a long time. So when does that decision happen? Right? How do you determine when you do that?
All right. So say Rabs Country Lanes wanted to donate. You're getting a new sign for the front door. And the sign that you have is you love it. It's been there for 20 years, or let's say. So you want to give it to the Staten Island Historical Society, which is the actual name of Historic Richmond Town, and you want to have it preserved for posterity. That would be something we would really consider to keep into the collection because it tells of a multi-generational on-island business that a lot of people will have an association with. A lot of people have come to Rabs Country Lanes for the birthday parties or, just in the leagues and whatever it may be. So your company has touched a lot of the community. And so that would be something we would like to have in our collection. So how does that happen? You just call us up and say, hey, I have something that I'd like to give to your collection. And what we'll do is you'll get put in touch with the curators and they'll ask you some questions. They might ask for some pictures. And then there's a very tried and true process that has to go through the collections committee, which reviews everything for its uniqueness, its relevance to the island and to our mission, our ability to maintain it forever. So you have to assess the cost of objects by their square footage, their needs. Certain things are really hard to preserve for hundreds of years. Plastics degrade. Someone will hand you a thumbnail drive and say, here are my family photos. And you have to say, awesome. That thumbnail drive will not be readable in maybe even 10 years. So it'll just be a piece of plastic and metal that in 100 years, they'll be like, look at this plastic metal thing. So
you can have our sign. I hate it.
Actually, I have a sign from my father's shop on when he was on Bay Street, and it's a stained glass sign that hung outside the shop, and it's a beautiful piece, but it's kind of been sitting in my family garage. But yeah, maybe send it an email.
Yeah, Steve, that's the thing. And also people have blueprints of a family home or letters from loved ones not in wartime, just a regular correspondence or, tokens for things that, old county fairs. And we just really want to collect the material culture of everyday Staten Island.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I have a bin that was given to us from a bowler 50, 60 years ago. It's more than that. In that, they were cleaning out and they gave me this bin that had some old bowling pins and some great Staten Island bowling memorabilia. Yeah. But in there were also these personal letters and the personal letters from wartime. And I mean, I don't want them.
Right. But we feel like, what do we do? I don't want to throw these out.
And they didn't want them back. And I was like, okay. So I have to go back in there because there were some really cool things in there. I mean, it was starting to smell too. But some really cool things when we were celebrating an anniversary of our women's championships. But it's funny, you don't know. Like in my house, I don't have anything. I have old stuff, but we've moved so many damn times that You know, you just purge stuff. Yeah. But we have friends that have been in their homes forever to the point that you made about this guy living that wants to live on in grounds of Richmond town that have everything.
Sometimes you really can never go home, right?
No. Hey, so you know what's happening, and I want you to talk a little bit about the video series you started. So what's happening now at historic Richmond town during this pandemic, or what us New Yorkers say, this shit happening around us?
Totally. Well, like Rabs, we haven't closed. We're just operating differently. You know, you guys are doing your Live from Rabs, and we're doing our arts and culture in quarantine series. And it's a varied series. You know, we have like coloring pages from houses that are on the property, and we have educational attic. I'm doing an attic tour series where I just like randomly go up to the different attics on the property, which is super creepy to do by yourself in the middle of a pandemic, because like, will anybody hear you if something happens? Like, if I fall through the ceiling, you know, I don't know. I'll become the ghost of Richmond town. But it's a way for the community to continue to access the things that they love about historic Richmond town.
So for you, are these first time tours of these kinds for you, or did you do something like this initially when you came on board?
No, I don't have really the time to do tours as the CEO. I'm much more back end, unfun, like desk pigeon stuff. But I used to give tours of my college. I've given tours of other museums. I mean, if you work in this industry, chances are you've given a tour of some old place that you've worked. So it just seemed kind of how do we get people to engage with us during this time? People are sitting home and they want to experience something outside of their quarantine or their isolation. So this was just how we did it. And I thought, as a person, what would I want to do? What would I want to see that I can't usually see? So the attic tours was one of those things. Right.
So one of the first ones I saw, you went in an attic and you found some gruesome items in the attic. Coffins.
Oh my God.
Obviously, you did this, and you did this video. So go ahead, talk about your reaction to that. Did you know that they might have been there?
I had heard that there were like creepy things in this one house, but you know, my staff were kind of just like, oh, you know, whatever, like it's not a big deal. I think they didn't want me to know because they didn't.
Maybe you wouldn't go.
Right. And maybe it's like their fun secret and no one else can have it. But they're a good bunch, and so it's a huge attic. It has like rooms and fireplaces. I'm like, is this actually a second floor? Or this is where they send the naughty kids. And I'm like, you know, it's really bright. And it was like a fly trapped in the attic. And I was like, sorry, buddy, you know, that sucks for you. Me too. And I look into this like closet and I'm like, what is that? Oh my God. And it was literally a coffin covered in unbleached muslin, which is what the curators use to cover things so they don't get dusty. And I was like, okay, we're done here. And I like go to leave, like trying to keep the camera still. And there's another coffin. And this one's like a child's coffin because it's like really little. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, we're done here. So I like quickly wrap it up and like go to like the thanks for joining us, like, you know, spiel. And I'm like out of there. And I think I only did one more that day because I did them all in one day because it was before you were supposed to like not go to work anymore. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm good here.
I have to say you did a good job covering that. So will you send someone up there to go do a little bit more digging in those coffins?
I have actually reached out to the curators and I was like, dear curators, what is in that attic? So they are in our collection. We know where they came from, and you know, they know that they're up there and they're safe up there. I'm not sure why they chose that building to put them in. Like, there's other buildings to keep them in, but you know, that's for me to investigate later, I guess.
Oh, so, okay. So they don't belong to the story of that building then.
They just happen to be up there.
That's where they got stored.
Yes.
Are there bones on those coffins?
Wait, what?
Were there remains? Are there remains in the coffins? Or are they just the coffins?
Oh, I did not open them.
You didn't open them.
No, I know that. But if you know that they're in the collection, do they know more about what they don't know? Okay.
They're empty.
Oh. I want to be. I was excited to say, "Oh my God, there's somebody in there," but no. Okay.
Well, we do have the Van Pelt Cemetery on the property, and there are remains in there. And one time, someone said to me for our Halloween event, they're like, "Oh, you should decorate the cemetery." And I was like, "Would you want me to do that to your mom's grave?"
Right.
Like, people are legitimately buried there. Like, it's a real cemetery.
I mean, I'm all about it, and I'll view it. Joni loves every bit about that.
Yeah,
Joni,
I bet she does.
And if you needed a volunteer to go in there, Joni would definitely sign up and go do it. I would come too.
All right. Well, we do like spooky tours in the fall, so you'll have to join those. But I don't think they're going to open the coffins.
No, it's fine. You don't have to. Just to know, just to be able, just the fact that they're there, I think is enough.
I did find a little skull in one of the other houses. I don't think they've done that one yet. They've posted that one, but the Christopher house. So stay tuned.
Oh, and so this is a behind the scenes. These are behind the scenes tours that somebody wouldn't be able to get because you don't let your viewers, the visitors, go in the attics,
right.
Which I think is really cool. So they're going to live on they're on social media, Facebook and Instagram, I think, right?
Yeah, they're on our Instagram TV. And they're on YouTube, and you can access them through historicrichmondtown.org.
Cool. I think if anybody hasn't seen it, go check it out. I think you get to see something more, and hopefully it inspires people to say, "Hey, we got to go.
Yeah, we got to go there.
We got to go there and
Once
check it out."
open.
Yeah, and we're trying to do things that give access to stuff that you may not usually see, or other things that Richmond Town does, and kind of a behind the scenes in general. So, yeah, I mean it's been a lot of fun. Definitely learning a lot of digital literacy during this time. I'm kind of a historian, so I'm one of those like, let's do everything by candlelight, guys. So our whole team is kind of really being thrust in the 21st century, which is really great.
That's cool. That's really cool. And speaking of candlelights, I have to say the Candlelight Tours are something that I know people look forward to in the winter months. And I would say I live nearby, so I'm always passing and I'm always seeing people take advantage of the property. But of course, this is more of a funny, but somebody had mentioned that they go and they play Pokemon. And so there's do you play, and what's the most rare Pokemon that you've caught in Richmond Town?
I just said I was a Luddite and preferred to write by candlelight.
Yep, I was being funny.
Pokemon what?
I was being funny. But it's cool though to see people on the property and taking advantage of it. I mean, you want them to pay, of course, but to at least be exposed to it, I think it is cool too when people are out there.
Yeah, I think, we can't, there's no way right now to enclose the property and prevent people from coming on. And I think as long as people are social distancing and respecting the park rules, New York City park rules, then that's wonderful for us. I think that allowing people to have that moment of serenity down by Richmond Creek or, on one of the porches is to kind of get away from what's going on in the world right now, creates that relationship with the community that is so valuable. And that might be the same person who comes back to the Richmond County Fair and pays for the ticket that helps us raise money to do the things we do to allow us to continue to maintain the property so it doesn't turn into a farm colony.
Yeah, and before your arrival, Boardwalk Empire did some filming on the property, which I've noticed many of those pieces are now gone, but some of them have stuck around. Including where Edgar's is, right? That was a prop from the movie set, and I think that told its own story. Anything you want to share on that experience for Richmond Town?
Well, I wasn't here then. I was just a bystander watching Boardwalk Empire as a regular person. But it was, from what I heard, it was a wonderful experience to have that massive production on our campus, and they set up these props that look like buildings. And as you said, most of them have been taken down because they're temporary. But the diner did stay up, and that has been kind of like a concession venue for Edgar's ice cream. And it's been wonderful to have them there. And like Rab's Country Lanes, it's a long-standing institution service on Staten Island that we, that's what we love at Historic Richmond Town, is that there's like some real staples, and we want to support that.
Yeah. All right. So what's your favorite Edgar ice cream flavor?
I love vanilla with the dark cherry sauce and hot fudge.
Oh, that's something I would definitely like.
Okay.
What's yours?
Their chocolate chip mint is
so good.
Yeah.
Now, what Edgars do you go to?
I'm definitely vanilla. with the cherry and the fudge. Absolutely.
So good.
We have an Edgar by Irby because I'm on the North Shore, so I always drop in at Irby and get my Edgar.
I don't really get to get my Edgar fix ever since they left New York. So when they opened up in Richmond town, I was very excited because it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's on my way home, and I can easily just pull in and go in there, and so I've done a good job of not doing that too often, but I've done it enough where I probably shouldn't.
Well, they should be reopening soon, so I think maybe next month.
Cool, and I think people will certainly look forward to that, and it fits perfect. I think you want to preserve the part. You want to preserve historic Richmond town for what it is, but it works so well in this space, and it's been very well received by people. And I think it's fantastic. It's an awesome partnership. I saw that the candy store is now moved into the courthouse. Right, as part of the next to the gift shop piece. And it looks really cool.
Yeah,
they just couldn't. It looked like they couldn't sustain it. And a partnership like that. Do you see other partnerships kind of grooming from that moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking to partner with the community, and I think that because we're a part of the fabric of Richmond County, and I think that it's important to make sure, like you said, to maintain the mission of we're a nonprofit, so to maintain the mission, and we hold those. We take care of the parkland for New York City. So they actually own the property. So there's a lot of kind of like red tape to navigate with that. But I think that it's important to give the people who come to Richmond town enough to do in one day. So, if you come before Edgar's, there was nothing to eat. So now you have ice cream. So what about something savory and providing enough programming for people to really want to stay more than an hour?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I noticed in the last few weeks, spending some time cleaning up the old parsonage restaurant building, which I have to say it looked coming along really nicely. So what's happening there?
So we're doing some essential work on that building. It had been when the previous tenant had moved out of the building, it kind of just locked the door and no one went back. And it's on a corner that's a very visible corner. It is one of the buildings we do steward, and it's very important to take care of all of the buildings, but especially one that is so visible.
Yeah.
And it just apparently they just didn't clean the gutters. So the water filled up and it wasn't draining properly. And then it was just running off the roof onto the porch, and no one was taking the leaves away from the base of the building. So then the water would drop onto the leaves. They would just build up over the years, and that would rot the wood. And then the raccoons were like, this isn't hard to break into. Hello, my new home. So we've just been trying to basically keep the pests out. So we've been doing, we've power washed the cedar shake roof, which are very expensive and beautiful roofs when you see it when you drive by, and just replacing all the rotten wood and securing the building so that it's safe from animals and vandalism, and it's just also to be good neighbors. No one wants that in their neighborhood, just a dilapidated building, and there's no reason for it to have gotten that bad. So my facilities team, who have been spending a lot of time trying to work on that, and it's coming along really well. They're going to be doing the fence in front, and they've gotten rid of a lot of the garbage that was in all the outbuildings and locking things up and making things much more secure and cleaning up all the brush. And, it's landscaping and general maintenance.
Yeah, it looks great so far. Is that a space that you would lease out again at some point?
Oh, certainly. We are definitely looking for someone to take back the parsonage as a tenant. It's just such a prime spot for some kind of commerce to happen there. It's an interesting building. You've got 2 very visible storefronts. You've got parking. It's a no-brainer, but it has to have the right person who is willing to work in a historic building and have the kind of industry that would make it work there.
All right. Listen, I think there are plenty of things that could certainly work. I do remember being in there and the bathrooms being on a slant, and so a lot of the floor and anything can kind of work in there. So that's good to know. So if anybody's watching that is looking for some awesome space.
Yeah, we actually on our website, they're at the very bottom of our homepage. It's saying doing business with Historic Richmond Town. Oh, thanks for the link. And you can click that, doing business with Historic Richmond Town. It'll take you to the request for expressions of interest, the RFEI. And it kind of details the square footage, the location, the different types of industry that may be viable in that building. And then you just contact us. And my email is in that document, and you just say, hey, my name is whatever, and I'd love to learn more.
That's cool. Kevin, so one of our viewers telling a murder mystery party house. I would certainly take you up on that if I could rent it for a party. That would be pretty cool.
Stephanie, are you looking for a special events job?
No. You can't have her. Stephanie is our special events person here, so you can't have her. And Kevin, well, they're usually watching together, so no, sorry, you can't have her. Nice try. Hey, and if anybody wanted to support your mission, I would direct them to historicrichmondtown.org. Is that the right spot to send them?
Yeah, that come in, and even if you're just viewing some of our videos, that's supporting us. That helps us translate views into, a grant. It's like, hey, we had X number of people watching our content. We're reaching this many people, and therefore we are viable and valuable to the community. Yeah. Or you can become a member and get discounts to the fair and all the other events.
Cool. See, it's good to know that.
Yeah.
If you're not, hey, we say this a lot. Living here in New York City, we take for granted our cultural institutions, and they're just there. And when somebody tells me, "Oh, I've been to Richmond Town only for an event. I've never toured the place," I'm like, "What are you, nuts?" And it's not just Richmond Town; it's all of them.
Yep.
People tell me they've never been to the Empire State Building, for God's sakes. We take it for granted. It's in our backyard, and I challenge everybody that you should make it a point to visit our institutions. One, support them, support their mission, because they're here for a reason. Yeah. They're preserving our history, and they all have these great stories to tell. So kudos to you and the team. And
yes, you're doing a great job.
Keep up.
Thank you. I think people are going to wish they had heeded your advice before COVID, because this is expected to be an extinction level event for 1/3 of cultural nonprofits across the nation.
Yep, I absolutely.
It's sad. It's sad. And even businesses, all different types of businesses are in the same boat for sure. Yeah. And we keep talking about it. We don't know what the new normal is going to look like, right? So what does it become? What do your events look like? What do visits? So. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah. You too. And I love seeing the bowling alley behind you. I told my son, I was like, do you know who I'm going to talk to today? He's like, who? And I was like, the owner of a bowling alley. He's like, can we go? Are we going now? Can we go now? Can I play with all the people in the lanes?
Well, tell him when we're open.
Yes,
he's got to come and visit and be our guest whenever that might be.
Thank you very much.
Jessica, really, thank you for joining us today.
It was an honor.
Please, you're the best. Keep up the good work, and we know we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jessica.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Jess. I say it all the time to remind people, it's in our back door. Please, you need to go and check it out, and not just for the events.
Yeah, and she's right. It is going to be probably 1/3 of these landmarks, institutions that are supported by either grants or people's donations are probably going to go away. Yeah, they're just not going to survive.
Well, and we talked about Mazda Donna was on with us, and we talked a little bit about the work that they do. But and other charities. Even we had Joanne and Diane talking about the work they do, and they rely on government funding. And they all do, based on, of course, their attendance and their support. Without our support, they don't get the funding that they need. So how do we, when we can to your point, continue to do that? And it'll be a challenge, but I know we'll get through it, and we'll all do it. So Joni, if you haven't watched those videos, you need to go check out those videos.
Check it out.
They are right up your alley.
I like it.
So Naz, we've been sharing some old photos, and you giggled yesterday, but I didn't get to show it yesterday.
You didn't get to show it. I was so
because I changed it. I decided to show John Franco yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
I believe Liz said she took this photo.
Yes, she did. Yep.
This is from the beginning. This is pretty funny. This is young Frankie, for whatever reason, excited to be outside the women's bathroom.
That picture is hysterical.
I love it. I think it's hysterical. Look at the hair. The bathroom is still in the same place. We just took the doors off. Yeah.
That's funny. That's a great picture. One of
get
my all-time favorites.
I get a kick out every time.
It resurfaces in the office about once a year, and we all get a great laugh out of it.
I need to print that so we have it in there. I get a laugh out of it, but that's the anniversary photo of the day.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Jessica was great, by the way.
She really was.
She's young. I love her personality. She's got great ideas. And I think she's probably going to attract a younger crowd there with some of the ideas that she has. Listen, I think great things are coming for Richmond Town.
I've sat with her a couple times, and she really is. She's excited. She's bringing new energy. I wish I said this when she was on. I don't know if she's still watching, but I would remind her. I said to her, I said, you're kind of the woman behind the curtain. She took on this job 20 months ago, and really she's been so busy with catching up and doing things, getting a handle on her role, looking forward, working with the board. They had a lot of changes happening there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we really knew who she was.
Right.
And I'm glad that she's doing this video series. I'm glad that she's getting out there because it's important for the leadership of these institutions and nonprofits to come out.
Yeah, to be the face of the organization. Yeah.
So it's important, and I'm glad she came on with us today. There are always some great things happening at Richmond Town, and if you don't take advantage of it, go check it out. Yeah. And I'd say the same thing for Snug Harbor and
that's
all
what I meant
the
before,
Tibetan Museum of Modern Art. People go, what? It's the only one of its kind in the country.
Yep.
And there are other cultural museums like Richmond Town around the country. Yeah. But this is Staten Island.
Staten Island, right. It's our history.
And I think the misconception a little bit is that those properties have all been exactly in those spaces.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I thought that myself. I didn't realize until maybe a couple of years ago when I started just, researching different things on Staten Island and realized that there were buildings that were actually moved there. Yeah. And that's interesting. That's
some of them are in there. A couple of them are in the original spots, but they moved them, created the space, and including there's a house up here on Richmond Road in Dungan Hills here that they curate also. So that's when she talks about the multiple properties. It includes that house that's up here. There's a sign outside. I don't know the name of the house. It's really nice, but they never moved it for whatever reason.
The one by Joe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can't go in it. You can from the outside, there's signs and you can see it. But I think, and that's cool to be able to have, it's like a satellite museum, so to speak. Yeah. So thank you, Jessica. If you can support Richmond Town, support it in any which way, of course, when you can. And
go on their website and check out that Arts and Culture in Quarantine. They've got some really cool stuff there too.
Yeah. So
it's their 40th anniversary this year, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Whose? The Richmond County Fair?
Maybe the Richmond County Fair.
Oh, the fair's 40th anniversary. Yeah. I think this last one was, or this one coming up?
I thought it was the one coming up.
That's exciting. Listen, I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's Labor Day weekend. It's coming close. So hopefully the event shapes up to what they want it to be. It's amazing. There was an order talking about large events not being able to take place until the end of September. Right. So maybe they push it off. That's one of their biggest fundraisers. They don't have a gala. Yeah. They several years ago they started something. They did a gala, but it wasn't a gala. It was a great event. Right. But these events really are their bread.
That's how they So that's how they fund things to be able to stay open.
Oh, so Niles is telling us the name of the house, the Billu Stillwell.
I knew it was Stillwell. I couldn't remember the first word, but I knew the second word was Stillwell.
Especially the Stillwell name has been prominent in our community for so long. Hey, our meme of the day. I had one and then I changed it, so we have two memes of the day.
All right, memes.
So here's the first one. I think we had something similar to this, but this is pretty funny.
I'm not adding this 2020. This year, 2020 to my age, I did not use it. I hear you. You ain't kidding.
So anybody that's selling a birthday, just keep it.
Yeah, that's about how I feel right now.
And of course, because we got to keep reminding that we want to get back to bowling.
Johnny Depp.
When I hear I can go bowling again.
Yeah. When we used to, at the beginning, we showed what was it? All the penguins running.
Yeah. whatever they were running down the stairs, and then we've got a
Yes.
few of those. Pretty funny. We're excited. Hopefully, we can get back on much sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I mean, again, we get mixed messages about opening, and we thought that things were going to start to open up May 15th, but that doesn't appear like that is in reference to Staten Island.
One day at a time, baby. One day at a time. We'll
Or
see.
to New York.
Yeah. So they have a map that you can go check it out. It's like I said before,
Very, very, very
interactive.
informal, informative.
So Nez, tomorrow is Wednesday. Who's our guest tomorrow? We're going to be at the again tomorrow, 2:00 here on Live from Rabs. Special guests,
Coley Edison,
CEO of the
Coley Edison
Professional Bowlers Association. Dennis makes a comment here, which is so true. I mentioned this in the beginning when I caught the closed. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, it's not Dennis. It's Joni. Your closed caption does not understand New Yorker. Yeah, we kind of made fun of that in the beginning when we saw this. It doesn't at all. It's pretty funny. I have to go back and watch just to see how bad it really is. The closed caption. You have us on mute. You don't want to hear us, Joni? That's not nice.
Maybe she's watching both.
No,
That's why I don't like things with closed captioning, because I can't help but look at the words.
Yeah, I'm the
It's
same way.
very distracting.
So tomorrow, Coley. Thursday, we're going to talk food and more food with Pamela Silvestri.
And maybe she'll have a special guest.
We'll have other guests with us. You never know who's going to pop in with Pam.
Popping in with Pam.
She was on this morning, and this morning,
Yeah, I missed this.
kind of a follow-up on Mother's Day, talked a little bit about the landscape. The restaurant landscape has changed again in the last week. Some restaurants have closed. Many have reopened. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody starting to get back to reality. And some of it becomes, some people aren't comfortable going back to work.
Yeah.
And that's what some of them are now facing.
Right.
They just don't believe they're ready to go to work. So in some cases they have to hire new people.
Yeah. And think about it. Some of the people are receiving unemployment and getting a lot more money than they were.
Yeah.
When they were working, which is crazy. But, when that fleshes out in July, when that runs out, then you got to go look for a job. So,
we'll see.
What was created.
Saturday, our friend Joe Cal is going to be back in the studio. Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer Saturday, the one and only
Wendy McPherson.
So don't miss out on the rest of the week
right here.
Here on Live from Rabs. So we had some breaking news during the show. Again, I don't know. I don't think we got a follow-up answer to this one. But it looks like Little League across the board wants to get their season started June 15th. So that's interesting to see.
That's a little surprising, but
So thank you, Joe
I'm happy
DeModio, for
the
sharing
kids
that.
If that hashes out to be true. And again, even in discussions with how we're going to go forward with the business here and with my business, you're going to have buckets of people. You're going to have one bucket of people that are going to be like, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm in.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have those people in the middle that are going to be like, well, what are you doing to keep the, what are you doing to protect everybody? And then you have the other bucket that is going to be people that are like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to wait.
And that's with everything.
A long time.
Right? I think that's with everything.
Across the board. Every business is going to be kind of dealing with that. So,
and there's going to be a push from the general public, and we don't know what that's going to be, but it's going to be worse than what it is today, but we'll see. So anyway, a little bit of breaking news. The other piece of breaking news I could have shared yesterday. I mean, we went almost 2 hours. We eclipsed over 85,000 views yesterday.
That's
real.
Crazy.
There are no zeros added to that number, but we on Live from Rabs hit over 85,000 views while we had Nelson Figueroa on, which is pretty exciting. So
it might have been Nelson's family, but we don't know.
Who cares? People are tuning in and watching us Live from Rabs.
Yeah,
and we're excited, and we keep doing so. We're here every day until further notice. 2:00. In your living rooms, kitchens, phones, tablets, computers, wherever we might be.
Wherever you watch us. Share it
and consume.
Like it.
Yeah, subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Don't just follow the page, like the page. You want to see that counter going up. We know that some of you may not like the page. and you'd follow it, which is the new crazy thing on
It's
Facebook.
weird, a little weird.
But when you follow, you don't see everything. When you like the page, you get more. Yes, Pat, let's go Mets. We're looking forward to getting the baseball season up and running and see what that looks like. Well, anyway, I have to run. I'm actually going to be late for another live interview.
Oh, you're a busy guy.
We're busy people. Cubica AMF has been hosting a piece for our industry, Beyond the Frame, interviewing proprietors from all over the country.
That's cool.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening here at Rabs around the country. So we are cutting it off today. I mean, Nazareth and I can keep talking because we didn't talk about dinner.
Yeah,
but we're going to talk tomorrow about dinner and what's on the table. So thank you, Jessica. You're the best. Wait, 29 Recliner Lane. That's where I watch. That's oh boy, not going to be a good year for the Mets in the division.
They still have to play the games, Kevin.
Kevin, I don't think you weren't with us yesterday. You might have actually been working. You should go back. We had some great conversation with Figgy about that and really about the sport. The funny part, people that are going back and watching it now are commenting on it, and I'm calling out John Venosa just because. And I actually am a little disappointed he didn't watch it live yesterday.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
But he's been commenting as he was watching it today.
Yeah.
So it's funny to go back and watch the Monday night quarterback comments afterwards. So
right.
Anyway.
Well, Figgy's going to be back. I know he wants to come back, and we do have another somebody from the Yankee side coming up. We'll announce him probably tomorrow or the day after. So we'll get the Yankee fans on board and get their part of the story. And we don't want to seem like
whatever part of that story is.
Whatever that story is.
We covered that yesterday.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say it.
Even with Jimmy mumbling in the background. Hey. We hope we kept it real for you today. We appreciate you watching. Join us again tomorrow.
Yep.
Yes.
That was awesome.